I'm recapping anything, or if it goes both ways. If you feel like I'm recapping something that you already know, say, I already know this, you can skip ahead. Or if you feel like I need to slow down and you want me to go through some additional, you've got some additional questions, just holler at me and let me know you've got some questions. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So once you guys log into the system, which I know you guys have done because you've worked on content, you're going to be brought to this home page. This home page is made up of a couple of different dashboard areas. All of this information is just a snapshot of the information that you can view in the system. So this is all, we can all kind of dive in deeper on any of these different pieces. Up here in the top left-hand corner, we have your current membership roster. This is where you'll be able to see all of the different member types that you guys have and the members that are a part of those member types. So I'll be able to select any of these numbers and it'll show me, okay, we've got one affiliate company. Affiliate is the company. If you guys remember, we talked about that parent-child relationship. The affiliate contact would be the child to the company or the linked profile to the company. So if we wanted to know who that affiliate member was, I could click on the number 1 and it'll show us exactly who that individual is. Now there is all kinds of cool stuff we can do from this profile list. We're going to come back and talk to this a little bit later in our training today. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page right now by using my home icon up here in the top left-hand corner. Okay. You'll also in this area be able to watch your members move from an active status to a graced status and then eventually to a lapsed status. So if your members do not pay their dues, they're not going to be automatically deleted out or purged. They're always going to be held in this lapsed column. So you can view them here even as a lapsed member. Now, if you want to move them, you could always change them to a prospect, or you could delete them altogether. Anytime you delete a member in member clicks, it sounds kind of scary, but you're actually just archiving them. So you can always restore a profile if you need to, even if it's something that you've deleted out. Any questions on this first piece? Yeah.
I do have a question. So when you have an affiliate contact, is that all contacts or is it the primary contact?
All contacts.
Okay. Great.
If you wanted to know who the primary or key contact is for that company, for example, this let's go into the affiliate company profile. We'll skip ahead a little bit. I'm just going to click on this line, which is going to bring me into the company's profile. Now, this company profile is telling me how many linked individuals there are right up here in the top left-hand corner. In our case, there's 1 because this was just an example. But I can actually view who those linked profiles are by using my linked profiles tab. So by clicking on this linked profiles tab, it's going to show us all of the individuals that are linked, including the key contact. So if they're a key contact, this toggle will be on. If they're not a key contact, the toggle would be off.
And there's only one key contact to each member company, correct?
So you can have as many key contacts as you would like. I would typically suggest not having more than 1 or 2, just because you can start running into having too many cooks in the kitchen, if you know what I mean, too many hands. I got a lot of analogies for this, I guess, today. Too many hands in the pot. So basically, these key contacts have the ability to update the company's profile. So you wouldn't want to have like 6 linked profiles and all of them being key contacts, because they can all go in and they might be trying to edit the organization's information or company's information on. So I would suggest not having more than 1 or 2, but you can have as many as you would like.
Okay, so here we see who the key contact is. How do we see who the other contacts are?
They'll also be listed underneath this profile. We're only just viewing the key contact right now because we only have this one person that was imported. So even if this person wasn't a key contact, we would still see them right here. They would just have this toggle off.
Okay, so Alice, question. Did you import just all contacts?
We did a sample of each membership type. And it was the primary contact and the company.
So in other words, we did not pull the additional contact.
Right, because we wanted to do that closer to when the site goes live, because then the data is the most up to date.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, because Becca had recommended that, because then that's the last like piece to the puzzle, so that everything is completely up to date. Yeah.
All right.
There are some pros and cons to doing it that way. Con, just like you mentioned, it's kind of like, well, where's everybody else?
Right.
Pro, you only have to do one import, because you guys would have basically had to do this organizational structure to all your members, and then you would have had to do it a second time when we wanted to update the database. So doing a sample like this prevents you guys to do that. That's why Becca suggested it, I'm sure. All right, we're going to go back to the home page. Any other questions on that piece?
Nope.
All right. Are you okay? I heard like you were going to ask a question.
There was one question I had. So when it comes to adding in contacts, like, could we go into the affiliate contact for a second? So is there a fast way to add the organization, just to add as an individual? That's basically it?
Absolutely. So if I click on this linked profiles tab, there's two options here: add linked profiles, create linked profiles. To explain the difference between these two, let's say that you guys wanted to add me as a linked pro to ECI Software Solutions. Maybe I came to one of your events previously. Maybe Alicia brought me to an event with her as a guest, and you have a prospect profile in your database. You would add me. You don't need to create me because I'm already created in your system. You just need to link me in. So you could just add linked profile, and it would give you options of who to choose from.
Great.
Second way, let's say that you've never heard of me. I've never come to anything. I'm new to the company. I wouldn't have an existing profile in your system. You would just hit create linked profile, and this would allow you to create a brand new profile for me.
Perfect. Thanks.
So those are the two different ways. Yeah, absolutely. We can go ahead and talk a little bit more about these profiles while we're here. This would be an organizational or profile, and the way we know that is because there's a big logo listed up here at the top, and it'll show the company name. We have different attributes in our system, and I'm going to say this word attribute probably a million times over the course of our trainings. So an attribute is just a piece of information that we use to describe your members. And so my name, Adrienne, is an attribute of who I am. We can use these attributes. I just said that. We could use these attributes. We'll use them to describe your members. So we have 3 different types of attributes in our system. We've divided them up into 3 different sections. The first section would be built-in. Built-in attribute is just information that we know you guys collect on your members, because the 1,800 plus associations we work with collect this information. Things like first name, last name, organization, physical address, email address, phone number. Really basic information that we know everybody's collecting on their members about. So those are built in. We've got system attributes. System attributes are pieces of information the system uses to keep track of your members' membership fees, how much they pay in dues. So those attributes are really for the system. And then the third that we have are custom attributes. Additional that I saw in your database that was unique to your association, I would have created a custom attribute or to hold that information. So there's 3 different types of attributes, and y'all, you're going to hear this so many times: built-in, system, custom. The reason I'm talking to you about this is because files are organized just as I discussed by the type of attribute that you're looking for. So over here in the corner in this box up here, 10 attributes. Over here in the right-hand corner, these are all system attributes: expiration date, last date, member type, member number, status. Then down below, we're going to have a collection or summary of built-in attributes and custom attributes. Now, I guess there weren't any custom attributes in this company. So this is blank. You don't see them down here, but they will be listed down underneath this area.
What are some examples?
Yeah, great question. A lot, specifically for an organization or a company set up like this, I see specialty or service type. Does this company offer? I was working with a building association. It was like roofing, tiling, flooring, drapery. Those are some examples. Another easy example that would be more for the individual, the contact birth date is sometimes a popular one. Does that help?
Yep.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So how this profile is organized, I can also look at our linked profile, and I'm just going to click on Alicia's name, and it's the same thing. All of these attributes up here in the top left-hand corner box are built-in attributes. All of the attributes over here in the top right-hand box, system attributes. Again, down below, we're going to have a summary of built-in attributes and custom attributes. So here are some examples of custom: board member, yes or no; job title; standards, count, items that I saw in your database that were specific to you guys that we wouldn't have known you needed.
Okay. How do you add them in the future?
Show you in just a bit. We'll go over there in just
Okay.
a minute. If you wanted to edit one of your members' profiles, we've got a big edit button up here in the top right-hand corner. And you can make any changes that you wish to make, and then you can hit save, and it'll save those changes. You'll also notice we've got some small buttons up here towards the top. Same situation. You can hit edit, and it allows us to edit that field. Okay. A couple of other things since we're looking at your members and companies' profiles. We do have a big middle section here. If the content to a company, you'll see a little summary about the company here in the middle of their profile. And you can go back to the company by clicking View Profile to the company's name. So now I'm back in the company's profile. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, profile. A couple more things I want to point out. Great. From a individual's profile, you'll also be able to see, you'll notice we've got a bunch of tabs up here, some additional information on that member that's stored right here in their profile. So you're not having to go in the system and search it down. You can find things like contact preferences. Now, contact preferences are something that your members can set in their own profile on the front end of the website through our social media. So a lot of these have to do with additional emails or notifications that they might want to receive from the social community. Down here at the very bottom, there's an unsubscribe button. By law, at the bottom of every email that's sent out from MemberClicks, there's a link that would allow them to unsubscribe from your emails. Even if they unsubscribe, they will always receive form confirmations and renewal notifications. So they cannot opt out of those. They have no choice. History. They'll also be able to view this in the front end in their profile, but this is going to be any email that you sent this individual from the MemberClicks. It'll open, bounced if they were unsubscribed, or if it was just delivered and they didn't open it. I think this is really useful because somebody may have seen your email come through, and you're like, well, Alicia, I saw it come through on 12/12, and it looks like it was opened. And go back in here and view that message and resend that message and all that kind of good stuff. We have e-lists and committees. These are two social community items. We're actually going to talk more about these when we get to our social community training. So I'm going to leave these as they are right now. But basically, if you're a member in an e-list or a committee, you'll be able to view that right from their profile. Submissions will house all of this individual's form submissions, such as their membership application or if they register for an event. Invoices will house all of this individual's invoices, including paid, open, voided, partially paid, whatever the status of the invoice is, you'll be able to find it right inside of their profile. And then last, we have a notes page where you can keep notes about the individual. Okay. Any questions on any of these pieces?
Under notes. So when you have the ability to put a note in, is there an ability to code it like towards they're using a service or something? Or is there a way to create an tab that that they use that you can then fill out?
Services that they use. Can you give me an example,
So,
maybe?
sure. So, one of the big things is trying to keep somebody as a member, and they'll say, oh, I never used any of your services. So you're like, oh, well, you participated you attended this conference, you use our legislative information, out for the serve training, things like that. So there's services where you can go in and see what services that they're using. So in essence, like if somebody's participating on a committee, you have to go in and mark their file as participating on a committee. And that would also go down to you be able to say what committee they are, or is it just that they're on a committee?
It sounds to me like a lot of the information that you're looking for is kind of kept in a couple of these different tabs. So like submissions, you could say, hey, you came to this event, this event, this event, and it all at member discount rates, which would have equaled a total of $400 in money that you saved. You could go over to this committees tab and it'll list all the committees that they're a part of. So you could say you're also part of A, B, C, D, and E committee. Message history.
So you can custom committees they are, and then
yes,
when you say
absolutely.
the other, what was the other one you said that they could that it was under, that they attended this event? What's that under?
Submissions. So if they register for events, yeah, they're going to be submitting submissions for, and they'll all be listed here. So if they came to 5 of your events, you'll see the form submission for all 5 of those events in this area.
Okay, but that's an actual form that they submitted. So it shows up under submissions by them submitting a form. What if
Correct.
It's not a form? But what if it's something that they participated in where there wasn't a form submitted?
Like what?
So like if they used a legislative service, or they we have an ICA Roundtable Facebook page that they can be a part of. We approve them to be part of this Facebook page, but they're not filling out a form, so we have to have a way to be able to indicate Roundtable.
Those would be things that you could keep in their notes. I would put a note like part of Facebook Roundtable.
Okay, but let me tell you the second part. Let's say you're sending out an invoice to somebody, and you want them to see everything that they're participating in. Can you pull something like that for an invoice?
For an invoice,
like members, and I guess again, this is showing the value of their membership. Where if you can say like you're participating in this, 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 and this, and they get their dues, they're like, oh yeah, that's you guys.
I'm trying to kind of think through that. There's not going to be really an easy. I'm
sure there is. Okay, so there's 2 steps to this. If you can indicate or something that they're participating on, to me, you could also use that. You could almost rename committees to programs, participating programs, right?
Mhm.
So you're able to add a whole bunch of different committees. If you just call them programs that they're using, then you could put them in there. So the next question is how you pull that out of the system to justify to them that they're using services. And this is just like a pretty basic thing with associations where, they always are like, it's almost like you're showing them that their services that they're using exceed the amount that they're paying.
Right. The only way that you could pull that out of the system is if we created a custom attribute. It would basically
Okay.
list all of the different items that they could benefit from or that they could use from you guys, all the services that you kind of offer, and then you could go in and check off all of the services that they're actively using. Now, what I don't love about doing that is there's not a fact behind it. So you could say, oh, well, you were the round table. You could say, well, I never talked in the round table. You know, I never took part in that. I don't know if that's even a thing. You don't have like a fact next to it that says, oh, on January 28th, I saw that you commented to Becky. You know, there's not that backup evidence, but you could check off all of the different things that they're using. Now, that's something that you could hide or you could make available for the member to see. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be something you give to them every time you invoice them. It would be something that they could just go in their profile and see, or if it's something that you really just want for your own knowledge, then you could hide it so they can't see it, but you can see it.
Can you pull a report of all the notes for members?
Oh, I'm glad that you asked that. These notes we cannot pull out. If we had a custom attribute, you could pull that out. So that is a big difference. So that would be where I might encourage you to use a custom attribute versus the note section to keep some of that stuff if you're wanting to pull it out of the system.
Okay, so when you have a custom attribute, does that fall under attributes or is that a new tab that you've created?
That would fall under attributes, although we could create an additional admin view, not view for your member, but view for you guys, where we could create an additional tab that would show maybe some key attributes out to bring your eyes directly to if you're using them all the time, instead of you having to go in their profile, go to the attributes tab, scroll all the way to the bottom or something like that.
Could you run a report of attributes?
Like. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Okay, no, that's great. So that's what would fall under attributes. If you create a new tab, is that what I'm calling it, a new tab?
Yeah, so these we would call tabs right up here, and let me show you attributes. We're going to talk about this in just a second anyways, but we've got an admin profile view, and we can call this services provided. We could call this whatever we want.
Okay.
How about, you want me to call it something else?
Oh, I like that.
Okay. And then we could say, actually what we might want to do is say special attributes and then say services provided. And then we could choose that. We have to create that new attribute, which we can do in just a second. But let's check council member falls under something that they might benefit from. So we could choose that. We could create additional sections if we want. I can hit save. So let's go back into Alicia's profile. I'm going to use my search bar in the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to search for Alicia's name. I can select her profile from those search results. And now we've just created this new tab, special attributes, and I've created this section, services provided, and we can include as many attributes under this piece as you want. We can also include different sections of this special tab that we just created. So if you also wanted to pull out some additional
where do I see it? I'm going to see it over, down below. Okay, got it. There you go. Wasn't seeing it.
That's okay.
Okay,
yep,
so we
right
can
down here.
Yeah, so we can,
so great.
under the attribute, so we can add as many things as we want under the special attributes tab that's created as drop down.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And you can create as many custom attributes that would kind of all of the services that they're using from you guys. I would just be careful.
Okay.
You aren't even close, but I always give the pre-warning. I wouldn't have more than 30 custom attributes because it can start to become a little bit cumbersome to search by. But you guys are far from that, so I think you'd be fine.
No, that helps us keep track of certain things when they're using it. But I hate it when they go, oh, we never use your services. But we're like, yeah.
Well, and what might be cool, something I haven't had this question or anybody mention this, but what might be really interesting is if you guys provided this attribute, this services attribute, and made it public, not like public to the members, so that they could see what services they're taking advantage of, because they might also be, they're not taking advantage of, and they'd be like, whoa, we didn't even know you guys offered this. We want to be involved in this. So that'd be really cool. I like that. Awesome. Okay, so I'll kind of leave the special attributes tab. I'm going to continue to talk about attributes in just a second. I'm going to go kind of wrap my way back to the beginning, but we'll kind of circle back in a moment. And I'll show you guys how you can add custom attributes, and then how you can tab. So if you want to, and what makes most sense for y'all, then you'll be able to. So for now, I'm going to go back to the home page. So I've talked about this current membership roster on the home page. The next item I just wanted to briefly touch over, new members in the last 90 days. This is also this is just going to pull out those guys that have joined in the last 90 days so that you can quickly reiterate the membership benefits they're gaining by being a part of your association. You know, emails, contacting them quickly and frequently, just since those are the new guys might want a little bit of extra TLC. We have our event dashboards. Our event dashboards are going to be pulling from your event registration forms. Now in this area, you can only see up to 3 past events and up to 3 upcoming events. Once again, it's just going on in the system, but you can always look into your forms and kind of see all of your events that are coming up versus just the past 3 and upcoming. Just a quick little look. It'll also show you the date the event was held on, or the date that it will be held on, and how many people attended or people have registered. So just because I'm a numbers girl, I love to see, okay, well, last month this many people came to our event. Now this next month, even more people have already registered. I kind of like to compare. So I think that's kind of neat to have those up next to each other. And last, down here at the bottom page, we have our financial dashboards. Our aged receivables is going to show how much money or how many invoices are outstanding by how many days. So along the bottom, we have a bar graph that will be created for current invoices, invoices that are 1 to 30 days past due, 31 to 60 days past due, and so on. Sales over time, this will adjust per revenue account to show you how much money was brought in per month for that particular revenue account. So we'll be able to filter by revenue accounts in here. Once again, we'll have a financial tab that we're going to talk about in just a second, where you can view all of your invoices. And we'll also have a transaction reporting center where you can pull transaction reports based on specific set times and credit card payments, types of items that you'll be able to search and sort by in the transaction reporting. And so we'll look at that in just a moment as well. Any questions?
Nope. No, this is great.
Sweet. Okay. I want to go ahead and on account settings for a moment. You guys will probably not need to use this tab very often, although one key item that is listed here is your account number. Once you all have graduated with me and you start calling into the help team, they're going to ask you for your account number. You don't have to write it down or memorize it. It is always listed on this tab for you, so you can access that. This is also a great place to see how many custom profiles and prospect profiles you've used out of the number allotted for your level. So as of right now, you have 1,000 members or 1,000 custom profiles you can have, and up to 3,000 prospect members. A custom profile is just a member that it belongs to a member type, basically a member type.
Okay, so under profiles here, so we have the profile is the actual member file or the individual file?
Great question. This includes company and linked contact profile. So it's a summary of both of those.
Okay, so you said that we have up to 1,000 that we can use? Okay, so I'm assuming that you have different levels that you can go over 1,000, but for this particular organization, we just have the one up to 1,000.
Correct. If you guys need to up that, you can do that at any time. Yeah. Are you feeling like you might go over that number?
Not with this one, but my next group that we do the conversion on, yeah.
Oh, yeah, not a problem. So whenever you go through the sales process, they're going to ask you how many members you have in your data and get you set up in the level that you'll need to be in order to accommodate all of those custom and prospect profiles.
Okay. And they are?
You guys, that's what we would call I call it a super admin. So that would be you two.
So there's a maximum of 2?
Of 2, however, with the Clemens group, we've given you guys up to 3 that you can use. If you wanted to go over 3, it's an additional $50 per
ASA per month or what?
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it.
We've got your time zone set up, membership year set up. I've left the member number on. You guys can hide the member number if you don't want your members to know they have a member number. I always want to keep this on though, because it's a great system attribute for us to use if we ever needed to do a mass update, which we're going to do when we import your new database. We'll want to use that member number to just update the existing members. If I ever wanted to do a mass import, or if you guys ever wanted to do a mass import, we would need a unique identifier per row in your database to kind of match what's in the database to what's in MemberClicks so the system knows what we're updating. Member number is usually the only item that we can use for that.
Okay.
We are using QuickBooks, so I've left QuickBooks toggled on. We've got your notifications set up. So when you all send emails from MemberClicks, the from name by default will always be Business Solutions Association. And if somebody wants to reply to that email that they receive, their reply or response email will go to alice@businesssolutionsassociation.com. You all have the ability to update this at any point in time if you want to, but you can also update this per email. So if you wanted to override where responses are going to, where replies are going to, you could do that per email as well.
Okay.
Okay, great.
At the top, we just have a summary of billing contact information, and that's just for MemberClicks on file for you all.
Okay, so that's not an ASA.
This probably is just whoever's paying. Usually this would be a financial person's information.
But I do actually have a question on the ASA, where you said for Clemens we have up to 3, but here it still says 2.
It'll always still say 2. That's kind of like a little special thing that we do for y'all.
It's an internal thing that you deal with through the billing.
Correct.
And when you say, how do you see the ASAs? Do you just click on the number?
Well, we can't click on the number there. If I go back to our home page, so just to clarify as well, just because you guys are the 2 designated ASAs, you can have as many admin as you would like. So on most of the Clemens groups that I'm working with, there's like 15 admin, but only 2 of them are ASAs, and that's okay. That's usually, you can get away with that.
What's the difference? And I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. The big difference, honestly, to me, the difference is that an ASA can call into the help team and ask any of the questions that they have. The big thing that you don't want to run into is kind of the similar situation with key contacts. You guys wouldn't want to have 5 people designated as ASAs and somebody calls in and says, oh, we want to change the member type. And they say, oh, okay, we're going to go ahead and do that for you. And next thing you know, you're calling back and saying, hey, this was changed and I don't know why. I need to change the member type. And
totally get it.
Okay, perfect. So, but you can have as many admin as you would like. So you can add additional admin. As of right now, you've got 3 admin. I'm one of those 3. And then you 2 are the ASAs, so that you're the other 2. Okay, awesome.
All righty.
Any additional questions on this homepage? Oh, I'm sorry, on the additional questions on the account settings page. Okay,
no,
awesome.
All good.
I'm going to go ahead and move to the financial piece for just a moment, and then the next subject after that will be going back to attributes. Right now I'm going to use our financial tab, and we're going to use the invoices submenu here. Financial and invoices. Now I'm also going to bring up my MemberClicks test site. It's a little bit tough to imagine what invoices will look like. So we've got some invoices created that you can view in my MemberClicks test site. So once I went to financial and invoices, this is going to bring us to our invoice list. This is be listed, whether it's paid, partially paid, voided, whatever the status may be. Once again, you don't have any invoices in here, little bare. So going back to MemberClicks site, I'm going to go to financial and invoices. And this is what your invoice list will look like as time goes on and invoices are being created in your system. Now, because this area will have so many invoices in it over time, we've created a lot of different these invoices to find exactly what you're looking for. For example, up here in the top right-hand corner, we have a search bar. This search bar is going to allow us to search your members by first name, last name, organization, or invoice number. So I can go ahead and search my first name. Invoices created in here. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and narrow this down a little bit more, though. We can also search by invoice type. Maybe I only care about my renewal invoice. I'm going to go ahead and select renewal, and I can apply that filter as well. I've still got a handful in here. The last we can search by is the status of the invoice. So if I called you guys up and I said, I know I've got an open renewal invoice and I know I owe you guys money, I just can't find it, and can you resend it to me? Search my name, look for the renewal invoices, and sort for just open invoices. We don't care about the voided or paid. At this time, we have found the singular invoice that we're looking for. And from here, you have a lot of options. We can tag this invoice. And at this time, we have an action available to us. Our actions drop-down will allow us to email the tagged invoice. So this would allow you to re-email this to my default email address, which is going to be located in my profile, or you could add additional email addresses, or you could just get rid of that original default email address and send it somewhere totally different. You also have the ability to use that actions button and export this invoice. That's going to allow you to print off the invoice. So maybe I asked for you to send it to me via snail mail. You could print it off directly from your invoice list and send it over to me. The last item that we have here is voiding tagged invoices. You could also void my tagged invoice from this piece. Any questions on sorting or searching these invoices?
Nope, looks good.
Nope.
Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and click on my invoice number. This is actually going to show us what the invoice looks like. Your invoices will look the exact same. Of course, it'll be your association logo up here in the top right-hand corner, and your association information up here in the top left-hand corner. Everything else is really going to look very similar, though. In this case, this is a membership renewal invoice. Say membership renewal. It will then list the membership type, and it'll list the next expiration date. Now, one thing a little bit special about organizations is it will also list every single linked individual underneath the membership renewal line item.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that.
That's a great feature. Yes. Thanks. Thanks for
What I
letting me know.
love about that is sometimes your companies may get a little lazy and they're not keeping you guys up to date or keeping their own profiles up to date with who's active and who's inactive. And next thing you know, you've got 50 linked members for one company and over 75% of them haven't been active for a long time. They just haven't taken them out. So this will allow them to kind of recap, and they may email you back and say, you know, Sally's no longer with our company. Can you take her off? And you guys will have the ability to do that. We have two note sections on our invoice. This first note section that I've highlighted here, these are external. These are notes that your members will see. This is a great place to put remit payment to information. You'll be able to determine the notes section per type of invoice. Now I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. Just keep this in mind where this is located, and that this is a notes field that you all can update. We'll come back to that in a moment. The second notes field is internal, meaning only to you guys. If y'all are anything like I am, if I voided this invoice and then I walked away from my desk 10 seconds later, I'm going to forget why I voided the invoice. So you can put a note in here saying voided invoice due to no longer attending event, or called on so-and-so date and said they did not want to continue membership. This is a great place to keep those notes just for you guys to view. Okay. We also have the ability to download our invoice from this area. You can void the invoice from this area. You can credit the invoice. Most importantly, and the item that you will probably be using is pay invoice. Now, your members will have the ability to pay these invoices online using their credit card information, but you all may still receive checks in the mail, or somebody may call you up and say, hey, can you just take my payment over the phone? And the answer is yes, you can do that. Just select pay invoice and either throw in their credit card, which you could take over the phone from them if you guys do that at all, or instead of a credit card, you could do an offline payment. This will allow you to choose what type of offline payment you're making. Maybe it's a check, the amount to be paid, a reference or check number, the date received, and submit the offline invoice will be reflected as paid in the system. Any questions on that piece?
Go back a screen where it had, when you were allowing them, hold on here, pay invoice, yep, okay. Amount to be paid. So if the dues amount is $100, it allows them to pay less than that?
At times, somebody may want to give you a partial payment. I've seen it done before, not too often, but you could collect a partial payment.
Would the same apply for registration for a conference? Is it going to allow you to select the amount to pay there, or is it set in there for what the form was created for?
This is a great question. For you guys, you have the ability to collect partial payments. Members do not have that ability. When they take a form, if they owe $550, they have to pay $550.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, this is really just an admin.
We have some people that always play the system.
They're like, well, I made a payment, and you're like, not the whole amount. No, they won't be able to do that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, won't be available. Wonderful. Any other questions on this piece?
Nope.
Okay. So, homework item, invoice templates. Let's go ahead and talk about invoice templates for a moment. That's the icon next to this invoice list icon. So if we wanted to go back to the invoice list, I could use that first icon here, and it's going to list all the invoices. Invoice templates is next to that. Invoice templates is a deceiving name. These are actually really just notifications that can go out in regards to your invoices. For example, you guys are going to have different types of invoices created in the system. Events, donations, sponsorships, partnerships, new members, whatever the case may be, you're going to have these different types of invoices the system's going to create for you. Invoice templates allows you to specify which types of notifications go out per type of invoice. So if I'm a new member and I've taken the membership application and I pay, you don't want me to get something that says, thanks for registering for our event. You want me to get something that says, thanks for becoming a new member. We appreciate your membership. Here's all the membership benefits you're gaining by being a part of our association. Give us a call if you have any questions. Something a little bit warmer. Now, you guys may have events where your members don't have to pay at time of form submission. Maybe they could register, but they can come back later and pay that open invoice. If that's the case, you're going to use invoice templates to do your dirty work. These notifications you can set up to go out to say, hey, you've registered for our event, here's your open invoice. Hey, you registered for our event, you still haven't paid, make sure you pay the attached invoice. Hey, you're past due, you still haven't paid your invoice, please make sure you pay this. And then finally, we've got that payment notification. So I'm going to go ahead and go into this invoice templates piece. I'm going to go in on your side though. I've created this default for you. Don't worry about messing with this. I just want you to create an invoice template for every type of invoice you guys think you're going to have in the system. So my suggestion, because this can get a little confusing, is to start by creating every type of invoice member clicks will create for you. Then create an invoice template for each of those different types. For example, you are going to have events. So you're going to want an events member invoice template. You can select the due date, anywhere from the day that the invoice was created until 90 days out. You can also specify on your forms if you want the form itself to override the due date of the invoice. So if you have a convention, a big convention coming up in November, and people can start registering now, you may not want them to have that invoice due in 30 days or even 90 days. It may not be due until October. So you can specify, okay, per this form, these invoices are due October 1st or something like that. Are you guys following so far?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Then we have our footer information. This is that notes field that I told you guys to keep in mind just a moment ago we were looking at on the invoice, where the payment to information could go. You could put any type of info in this area. This is going to be the external notes field on the invoice. And then this is where you're going to set up down here at the bottom the different notifications. So if you want them to receive a notification letting them know they have a new invoice that needs to be paid, you can just turn this on and edit the email. And then you can specify what you want this verbiage to say. Now, we've added verbiage in here for you guys, but I do want to take note, these can be a little bit spammy looking, right? If you just get an email that says, hey, pay this invoice, it's attached. I don't know how many people might want to do that, especially if this is going to be a new system for them. So I would maybe suggest making this a little bit more custom to you guys, just so it feels a little bit more legit to your members.
Can you add an image, so you could add the logo.
Exactly. Just like when we did the content training, it's the same editor. There's a couple of items, a couple of icons that are missing here, but you on there at the bottom, just like what you used on your front page.
Okay.
Okay. So then you'll also want to set this up a reminder email, past due email, payment notification email. Even if you never let somebody take a form and have an invoice created for them, meaning they have to pay at time of form submission. Even if that's the case, you guys at least want to have a payment notification email set up, because nobody likes to make a payment online and then it's just gone, right? Everybody wants to receive some type of email that says, we've received your payment, thank you for registering, or something like that. Otherwise, it's kind of like, did they received my payment? Where did my money go? What happened? So at minimum, you'll want to set up this payment notification email for the different types of invoice templates. So like I start by creating a list of all the different types of invoice templates, or all the different types of invoices your members will, the product will be creating for you, and then create an invoice template for each of those different types. You do not need one of these for renewals. You guys sent me that notifications document with those big long renewal notifications. Those are coming out of a separate bucket. These are just for other types of invoices that will be created. Any questions on that? That can be a little bit confusing.
No.
Okay, give this a stab. Awesome, give this a stab after our call today, so that way we can take a couple minutes at the beginning of you to go over any questions. Now, the second piece of homework I'm going to ask for you guys to go ahead and knock out are invoice settings. And you've already done that. I can't ask you to do it. Killer. Or maybe I did this for you. I don't know. I might have done this for you. I might have done this for you.
I think you did.
I was trying to give y'all credit. Basically,
we do have some.
We gave you the content.
On the Apple
yeah.
Okay. I just uploaded this is going to be the logo that appears in the top right-hand corner of your invoice, and then this information here is going to be the information that appears in the top left-hand corner of your invoice. If you guys wanted to make any edits to these, feel free to. You'd be able to do that.
Okay.
All right. Then we've got our revenue accounts. This is where I've added in all the revenue accounts. I think that I added these in. These different revenue accounts in for you guys. And a question, I think if I'm recalling correctly, you asked, can we add in revenue accounts later on? Yeah, you guys can add revenue accounts at any point in time just by revenue account. You can fill in the account name. If this is for dues, you're going to turn on that it's being used for dues. You have two different there are two different ways to do your accounting. There's accrual and then there's cash-based. I would say 90% of my associations use accrual, so that's our default. But if you guys are on a cash-based system, you can change this to a cash-based financial system.
Okay.
All right, and then you can add a description, but that's optional. So it's pretty straightforward. And then the very last item that we have down here is your payment processor, which is going to be Moolah. And have you guys started that application process?
Let's see. I will touch base with Donna to see if.
Yeah.
I think we were waiting until we were closer.
Oh, that's right. I know
take
you guys
2
have
weeks.
mentioned that a few times.
Right. And you said it does take 2 weeks to process, right? Okay.
It can take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. So I always like to shoot for the longer time, just in case. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, so that would be our payment processor. And you know what, guys, I got like 4 minutes, and so I don't want to, that kind of is a good stopping point for us. And I'd love to go ahead and schedule some additional time. I think we might have already done that, though. In fact, I'm pretty sure
we've already done the next two. Yep, we have them all done.
It's on Thursday. We rock. Wonderful. Any questions I can answer for you guys today from this training?
Nope, just play around in it.
I think I'm good. Yep. Oh,
wonderful.
I do have one question. But it's related to something from the last session.
Yeah.
So can we go to the homepage for a second?
Absolutely.
And then view the homepage of the site, like view the front end.
Okay.
And then can you scroll down? So see those quick links? Can you show me how to update those?
Absolutely. This is just like updating a menu item. So if I go under websites and menu items, I think we talked about how to update your main menu maybe?
Yep, we did.
Same thing, but you would choose quick links.
Okay, perfect. I just couldn't find the right space. Thanks.
Yep. And then you've got these 3 different options. So I could choose maybe quick links 1, and I could maybe change this type. And maybe we want to link back to their My Profile. A lot of times that's something that they need help to get back to if they navigate away from it. So I've started creating this kind of just as a default. If I choose My Profile, now I can call this My Profile. We can call it, you can come back in here and call us whatever you would like. Okay. Oh, that little warning just said it's already been chosen, the alias. If you ever get that warning, that doesn't mean that you have to change the title. The title can stay the same. You just want to update the alias, because if an alias is already being used, one alias can't point to 2 different places, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to update this to say My Profile, quick links. Notice I've done that a lot.
Okay.
But I can keep the title, and then I'm just going to hit save, and it's going to say, okay. And on the front page now,
Okay, and then with the quick links, can it go to like a custom page that I've created?
Like an article?
Yes.
So we could just go to quick links. We could change this type. We would, same thing, article content, always single article. We're not doing anything super fancy.
Great. And then just
choose our article. Link. Do you have it built already, or do you?
No, I was just asking how to do it. Perfect. And I can link it. Maybe press releases. Yep.
Maybe press releases. We're going to name it press release. Press releases. Same thing. We just hit save. Oh, see, okay. The chosen alias is already be used. That's okay. We just went through this. It just means it's already been linked in the main menu. So instead, I could just call this press releases. Whoops. Quick links.
Great.
I'm just changing this alias name.
Okay.
And now it'll allow me. It's going to still give me a little, this is fine. And now when I hit
that
update,
is great.
boom.
Now I know how to do it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, I'm going to switch to my next call, but I look forward to speaking with you guys on Thursday. Y'all let me know if you have any other questions leading up to that call. And other than that, I hope you have a great start to your week, okay?
Great.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.